All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy Chad bringing y'all another video, man. And in this video, as you see on screen, we're going to be reacting to Bill Maher, whatever his name is, on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about the hunger for common sense. Now, I have already seen this video personally, but when I watched this, I was like, man, like, this literally explains how we've been feeling from the right, or, just common sense people. Like, I tell you guys all the time, I lean more to the right, but it's not that I'm really right wing. It's just that I'm more common sense and I need the truth. And in this day in society, it's like the truth is lacking. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. And I'll pause the video occasionally just to give my viewpoints, so that way they don't try to give this like copyright strike or something. So yeah, we'll go ahead and go.
Joe Rogan experience.
Well, I think that's because we are both seen as people who are sort of like commonsensical. And that is what there is a hunger for, I think, in America more than anything, is common sense.
Yes.
Away from the extremes. I mean, when people say to me,
Now, he is right. Off rip, people are hungry for common sense. Well, I don't know if everybody's hungry for it, because you would think, with all of COVID and everything, the shots and all that, like, common sense would have, like, kicked in. Like, why are people being fired for not getting the vaccine when before the shot even came out, people were dealing with, like, not having a vaccine? So that's like a little bit of common sense. Also, like, if you go to a restaurant and you sit down at a restaurant without your mask, but you have to wear one walking into the restaurant, it's kind of like, where's the common sense? You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of people, that's what they are looking. Why is my chair squeaking? Sorry, I got so angry right there. But it seems like a lot of people are realizing that common sense is lacking. And this isn't really right wing. A right wing point isn't common sense. It's just things gotta make sense. Like, for every everyday person, like, the left has really made it to where common sense isn't part of their attributes or part of their skill set. It's just as much nonsense as we can get across, and then anything that's common sense, right wing. But we'll keep going.
don't you think you've gotten more conservative? No, I haven't. The left has gotten goofier.
Yes.
So I seem more conservative, maybe, but, like, it's not me who changed.
Yes.
I feel I'm the same guy, but 5 years ago, we hadn't spent $6 trillion to stay home. I mean, I understand we had to do something with the...
Exactly. Bill Maher, spot on right here. One of the things I realized when I went from, like, being kind of more leaning towards the left and everything was, like, the left started losing me. Everything became about race. Everything became about gender. Everything became about being woke. And I was like, why are we doing all this? Like, this doesn't, like, it literally doesn't make sense. I don't understand why we're doing this, why people are feeling this way. But it's like they just keep running with it and running with it. And anyone who does not align with the extreme views of the left, they say you're a right-winger, you're a conspiracy theorist. But yet, it's like everything they do is more extreme than what the common sense people are talking about. We'll keep going.
Pandemic. I'm not sure that was, I remember when $1 trillion was too much to spend on anything. We didn't spend $1 trillion to bail out the economy in 2008. So
Speaking
we didn't
facts.
do that. 5 years ago, no one was talking about abolishing the police. There was no talk about, pregnant men.
Bill Maher's laughing here, but one of the main things is, like what he said, we didn't spend $6 million trying to get out of the pandemic, or $6 billion, and, we weren't talking about abolish the police. Like, the left has fundamentally changed the way people look at things in general. Like, they've confused people. Police aren't there to kill you every day. Like, they made it seem like during 2020, the police were literally out like, let me go hunt black people down. Me personally, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, no black people are just being hunted. Most of the situations, They could have gone better. There could have been some more de-escalation. But in general, it's like between the police interactions I saw, people were always resisting arrest or fighting the police, and then they may have gotten shot. And although I don't condone them getting shot, it's like we have to address and be truthful about what happened. Did they listen to the officer? No. Were they combative? Yes. Did they try to resist arrest? Yes. And then even to his point about pregnant men, men can't get pregnant. It is what it is. They cannot get pregnant. Now you can implant a uterus or maybe do some extra stuff, but that's like you're trying to create your own body to become a woman, and that's doing extra. But in general, God made man a man, he made woman a woman, and that's what they are. There are differences. The left is saying there's no difference between me being a man and a woman being a woman. They're saying they're the same thing. Like, maybe not even 2 years ago, this was all normal for everybody to be like, yeah, man's a man, a woman's a woman. What's going on? Okay. Now it's like, that's questionable. And the fact that we are questioning those sort of things is how we could tell that society has just gone far left, like far extreme. It's just getting goofy.
It was just, looting was still illegal.
Right.
They celebrated looting last time I checked.
There was
Kamala Harris was bailing out looters when they were looting during the riots. So it's just like, we bail out criminals for looting. Looting is cool as long as it's for social justice. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Have I changed? No, because if someone had said 20 years ago, I'm not sure looting is a bad thing, I would have opposed it then.
Yeah.
See, I haven't changed. But that, I think, is what there is this hunger for, is this sort of common sense. Centrism is such a wishy-washy word.
It's not even that people are hungry for common sense, they're hungry for truth.
That's sort of what it is. Some people lean a little more to the left, a little more to the right. Sometimes it's issue by issue. But just, I'm always saying to the Democrats, just don't be the party of no common sense. And
Bruh, Bill Maher, if anyone who was on the left or Democrat heard this video right now that he was saying, they would call him a right-wing conspiracy theorist or conservative or a Republican, because he's speaking nothing but facts. And then when he's saying that common sense has left and the Democrats have been nothing but nonsense, you really have to think about it. You got to take a step back and say, okay, I may be Democrat. Okay, I may feel this way about certain issues. But what party is pushing all these agendas and ideologies and all this woke nonsense? Democrats. They're pushing like legislation in Cali, New York, like, oh, don't arrest people who are committing crimes, just let them back out in the street. Then businesses are shutting down because they're constantly being robbed. People are being robbed in broad daylight. Crime has gone up significantly. It's just like, it's constantly getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Who's coming up with all the woke ideology trying to push CRT and let's fight for trans kids, or let's fight to talk about sexual orientation from kindergarten through third grade, and then say if you go against it, then you're a homophobe, you're against LGBTQ. And I've already told you guys, if you don't want kids to talk about sexual orientation from kindergarten through third grade, and you automatically just go out there and say you don't want kids to be LGBT, it's like, why are you projecting? Or do you want to try to indoctrinate kids with that? Because last time I checked, sexual orientation can be straight or it can be gay. You feel me? But we'll keep going with the video.
Will be surprised at how much amazing success you will have, as opposed to what's going to happen, which is they're going to get their ass kicked in November.
Well, people like you are very important.
People are sick of what the Democrats are doing.
Because you represent what it means to me to be liberal.
In my personal opinion, because people are so sick of all the woke trash that's coming from the Democrats, they'd have anything else. And Republicans are gonna sweep them. Just like in Virginia when the Republican governor was running, and he was just running off the basis of, we need to have, he said we need to have parents be able to figure out what their kids are doing in school, and I'm going to combat critical race theory. And they had the Democrat man, he was supposed to be the one that win. That's what they had projected. Republican dude came and swept. And everybody was so upset, like, how could the Republican win? It's because he came against issues that should be common sense. Parents should have a say-so in their child's education in school. They should know what's going on. And critical race theory should not be taught. You shouldn't teach white kids, all of y'all are bad, y'all are racist. Black kids, you're all oppressed. I'm not oppressed. I'm not oppressed. I almost got on my soapbox for a second. I got so worked up. Because what the Democrats do makes me so mad, and liberals, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, every time they try to make it make sense, it doesn't. And they're the most intolerant, tolerant claiming group they are. And it never makes sense. But we'll keep going here.
Means to me to be left-wing, because you're just a normal person who cares about people's rights and wants a certain amount of freedom and wants people to get along and work things out amicably.
Right.
But the polarization in this country has made it so that people like you are rare. It's weird. It's like, that's what I used to think of when I thought of the left. I thought of like professors and, intellectuals and these people that would sit down.
The left, though, what Joe is saying, they're professionals, intellectuals. The thing is, the left is intellectuals that aren't using common sense. They send them off it's like what I see a lot of people say, like, I tell people all the time, just because you go to college doesn't make you a smart person. Just because you graduate with a degree doesn't make you a smart person. You can have most of this woke nonsense that comes from the left and Democrats are like literally the intellectuals. They feel they're so much higher and greater than the average person that they can just steamroll their way through, and what they say makes sense because they went to college for it. We studied it. And it's all nonsense. Like, they went and they just got the top level indoctrination, if we're going to be honest. We'll keep going.
And work through things with the understanding that free speech is like one of the most important aspects of communication possible, and communication is everything. Communication is how we work things out. Like this idea of not talking to people you disagree with. Well, guess what? That just galvanizes them. They just get hardened and they move further and further away, and we get more and more
polarization as well.
Associated with this idea of left and right and good and bad and 1 and 0, and this side does not agree with anything that side says. That's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And if you're out there doing it, it gives people hope. And it's not just...
And it's crazy because Joe's saying like this side doesn't agree at all. What's crazy about the left and Democrats is they will not tolerate or even want to hear Republicans or conservatives or just common sense ideals and topics. But as a conservative or a Republican or a common sense person, we'll listen to the liberals. We'll listen and be like, and we'll actually go back and forth with them on what the issue is and give them our side and stuff. But it becomes to the point where they're so stuck in all that delusion and nonsensical stuff that they end up not even wanting to have the conversation. As soon as your side is different than theirs, that's where the conversation ended. Like if I say I don't think critical race theory should be taught in schools, and they do, and they think it should, the conversation, that's it. It's done right there. They don't want to hear anything of what I say, even if I provide facts. That's one thing about the left and Dems that I noticed. If you give them facts, they still reject the truth because they rather have their opinion than have the facts.
We're saying common sense. You do have common sense. But more importantly, you have courage. Because courage allows you to speak your mind, whether you're right or wrong. Courage allows you to take a chance. And you're seeing the wave of people that are moving in a certain direction. It doesn't necessarily make sense. And you're like, hey, what the fuck is going on? And everybody's like, finally, someone's saying it on TV.
Man, what? Like I put up that video where I was like, I made the video's title, I may delete this. I said the same thing. I literally said, I don't understand why people see what's going on and they won't say anything. And it's like they're scared to speak up in terms of being canceled and everything. Me, I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to stand on it. Whatever, I'm letting you guys know as my subscribers, whatever you guys hear me say out my mouth, if anyone were to ask about it, I would stand on it. It doesn't matter the consequences. I just stand on my stuff. I'm not going to be a coward. I'm not going to be scared. You know, at this rate, I just think it's just how the good Lord made me. Like, he made me bold. Like, he made me bold. And that's all it is. Like, everyone around me knows that. Chad gonna say what needs to be said. He says it bluntly. You know, sometimes I can be more sympathetic, but I say what needs to be said. I say the common sense. And if you don't agree, you know, then we can talk about it. But if your side's already nonsensical and you have no common sense, like, and you're scared to speak up, like, that's one thing I can't stand. People who don't stand on their words, or people who are scared to say the truth just because they're afraid of what others will hear. Like, you care that much about what others hear? Like, what others, you know, gonna say about what you say? Like, just stand on what you gotta say, bro. But we'll get back to the video.
Because maybe someone said it at a cocktail party, maybe someone said it at a barbecue, but they're not fucking saying it on HBO until you say it on HBO.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean,
It means a lot.
I always say, you know, there's levels of courage. There's like, yeah, I mean, I will take that compliment as long as I can also say, but there's like Marines level.
Yeah, you're not a Navy SEAL.
Anyways, man, y'all can watch the rest of this video, but my last thoughts here, you know, I'm glad Bill Maher came out and said what we've all been thinking all along. But one of the other things that I do want to address is that Bill Maher was part of the left pushing all these Trump's bad. I'd rather have the worst economy ever than have Trump in the White House. When the economy was so good under Trump, I'm like, what world did Bill Maher live in? But what's happened here, and to, Joe Rogan as well, is they've been red pilled. They've been fighting on this side of the left, going along with the go along, and they've seen how crazy that they've gotten, especially if they come out and just say a common sense point. You know, I don't think we should be talking to kindergartners about sexual orientation. You're part of the right. You're a conservative. You're a bigot. And it's like, they realize now, like, whoa, like, this side has gotten so crazy that if I take a step back and just look at things from like let me just be a well-rounded person, a well-rounded individual, and just look at things, I see I don't actually line up with anything they have going on. Like, almost everything they're doing is nonsensical, and I have common sense. And so, like I said, Bill Maher was pushing all that nonsense. Then he woke up to it, and now he's like, yo, like, we need to stop it. But at least he's speaking about it now, you know what I mean? He has a public platform. He's speaking about it. He does like Joe Rogan kind of at this point. You know, recently, I've been seeing Bill Maher say some things that people probably wouldn't even want to watch his show anymore, because they would say he's right-wing and he's conservative, he's this and he's that. I've seen him say, you know, Trump would be better. Why aren't we investigating certain things? The economy's in shambles. Why are they trying to push, you know, pregnant men, and men can have periods too? Like, it's all weird. It's weird nonsense that it's just not truth. Like, stuff that's pushed from the liberals and Democrats is nothing but lies that they get people in a delusion to believe. But anyways, man, you guys could watch the rest of this Joe Rogan episode. I thought it was really good. He also had another one about, you know, the economy, why we're spending so much money. And I just thought it was really cool, so I'll leave those in the description. But as always, it's been your boy Chad. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'm out. Peace.